In today's video, we will be going through a crime drama film titled Papillon. There will be spoilers ahead, so sit back and enjoy. The movie begins with a prisoner peeking outside his prison cell. In Paris, during the year 1931, a thief and skilled safecracker named Henri Charrière, also known as Papillon, escapes through a window after completing a robbery. He later meets a man named Jean Castilli. Castilli shows Papillon a badly beaten man and warns him about what happens to people who betray him. Papillon then hands over the diamonds he recently stole. Castilli asks whether he kept any diamonds for himself, but Papillon denies it and receives his payment. Later, Papillon waits outside a club for a woman named Nanette. The two flirt with each other, and Papillon gives her a necklace while secretly showing her the diamonds he hid from Castilli. As they walk through the streets together, a man notices them, especially the necklace Nanette is wearing. Papillon and Nanette continue enjoying their time together before returning home and spending the night together. Afterward, Nanette tells Papillon that she wants them to settle down in the countryside. However, Papillon worries that he may not earn enough money there. He asks her to give him 6 months to save money, but Nanette does not want to wait that long. Their conversation suddenly ends when Papillon's landlady knocks on the door asking for the rent. But as soon as Papillon opens the door, police officers rush inside and arrest him. Papillon is falsely accused of murdering Roland Legrand, the same man Castilli ordered to be killed earlier. Papillon tries to defend himself by saying he spent the entire night with Nanette. Nanette confirms his story, but the police arrest him anyway. Later, Nanette visits Papillon in prison. Papillon realizes he has no chance of proving his innocence because the entire setup against him was carefully planned. Instead of fighting the charges, he decides to focus on escaping prison and taking revenge on the people who betrayed him. He also tells Nanette to move on with her life, but she refuses to abandon him. After Nanette leaves, another inmate named Julot, whose cell is beside Papillon's, starts talking to him. Julot explains that escaping prison requires a large amount of money. He then points out a wealthy counterfeiter named Louis Degas. While the prisoners are being escorted to the ship that will transport them to prison, Papillon keeps his eyes on Degas and notices that many prisoners recognize him. After boarding the ship, Papillon immediately approaches Degas. He offers to protect him in exchange for money that would help fund his escape plan, but Degas refuses the offer at first. Later, while the prisoners are resting, Degas witnesses a horrifying incident. A prisoner kills the man sitting beside him to retrieve money hidden inside his body. The guards on the ship do nothing to stop it, because they can easily be bribed to ignore the violence. The following day, Papillon speaks to Degas again. This time, Degas accepts the offer. However, Papillon makes it clear that he plans to escape alone. Degas agrees, confident that his wealthy wife will manage to get him released before Christmas. While the prisoners are resting once again, the same prisoner who killed the man beside Degas targets Degas this time. However, Papillon reacts quickly and stops him. The two begin fighting as the other prisoners cheer them on. The fight only ends when the guards interfere by releasing steam into the area. The guards inspect every prisoner's fists for bruises caused by fighting. They discover that Papillon was involved and punish him for it. The following day, the prisoners finally arrive at the island prison. Julot approaches Papillon and asks him to provide cover for his plan. Julot cuts himself and deliberately falls from the ladder so the guards will take him to the infirmary. As he is carried away, he secretly winks at Papillon, who is standing in line to march toward the prison. Upon entering the facility, Papillon carefully observes his surroundings. The warden welcomes the prisoners and warns them that escaping from the island is almost impossible. When Papillon and Degas arrive at their barracks, Papillon quickly claims a corner spot and tells Degas to stay there. He then approaches another inmate to ask who is responsible for assigning work duties in the prison. Degas interrupts the conversation and offers the inmate money. After agreeing on a payment, the inmate agrees to help them and secretly provides Degas with a notebook. Degas then retrieves hidden money from inside his body. Later, while the prisoners are resting, gunshots suddenly echo through the prison. A patient from the infirmary has attempted to escape. Papillon quickly realizes that the escaping prisoner is Julot. The scene then shifts to the prisoners receiving their work assignments. Papillon and Degas are originally assigned to the infirmary, but a deputy warden transfers them to Route 0 as punishment aimed at Degas. Route 0 is a brutal work area where prisoners collect and transport heavy rocks. Degas struggles badly and proves almost useless during the labor. Even while pushing carts, he barely helps at all. Exhausted and weak, Degas tells Papillon that he has severe diarrhea and accidentally lost some of his hidden money. Papillon immediately stops working and searches along the track for the missing cash. Later, while the prisoners are resting and eating, Degas notices that the inmate sitting beside him has died. He is about to alert a guard, but a prisoner named Céliar stops him. Céliar takes the dead prisoner's food ration and shares it with them. He then starts talking with Papillon about life outside the prison walls. After noticing that Degas is being threatened, Céliar warns Papillon. Papillon reacts quickly and shoves away the prisoner who is harassing Degas. As the prisoners continue working, they encounter a group of women being escorted through the area by a large man. The man becomes stuck, and the guards allow the women to ride in the prisoner's cart. Papillon Papillon immediately approaches the large man and offers him money in exchange for a boat. At first, the man seems ready to report him to the guards, but when Papillon increases the offer, the man agrees to help. The scene later shifts to Papillon and Degas taking a bath. The hostile prisoner returns with several others and attacks them. Papillon manages to fight them off successfully. Degas warns Papillon that the guards are approaching, but Papillon angrily yells back at him. That night, Degas apologizes to Papillon. He finally realizes that he may not survive long enough for his wife to arrange his release. Because of this, he decides to escape together with Papillon. Before going to sleep, Degas tells Papillon to stop calling him Degas and simply call him Louis. The next day, the prisoners are forced to witness a public execution. It is revealed that Julot killed a guard during his failed escape attempt. As Julot is placed beneath the guillotine, Papillon and Degas watch silently while the execution is carried out. Julot's head falls into the basket as the prisoners stand in shock. After the execution, the warden orders Papillon to choose another prisoner to help transport Julot's body. Papillon chooses Degas. While carrying the body through the forest, Degas becomes overwhelmed and collapses from exhaustion. A guard orders him to keep moving, but Degas is too weak to continue. The guard responds by whipping Degas across the back. Unable to watch Degas suffer any longer, Papillon grabs a rock and strikes the guard in the head before running away. The nearby guards immediately chase after him while others assist Degas. By nighttime, Papillon finally reaches the large man who promised him a boat. However, it turns out to be a trap, and the guards capture him. Fortunately for Papillon, the guard he attacked survives the injury. Instead of receiving a death sentence, Papillon is transferred to solitary confinement on another island for 2 years. The isolation is unbearable, and the constant silence slowly affects Papillon's mental state. With only tiny food portions and occasional exercise, he struggles to keep himself occupied and sane. One day, the small window in his cell door opens, and Papillon tries to look outside. This causes the prison warden to visit him personally and beat him several times. Even while being beaten, Papillon refuses to fight back or speak, only signaling for silence. As more days pass, Papillon discovers a coconut hidden inside his food bucket. Inside it is a note promising that he will continue receiving coconuts. Papillon quickly realizes that the gift is coming from Degas, and he happily eats the food. However, the prison warden eventually discovers the secret. He punishes the situation by killing the worker who had been delivering food to Papillon. Later, the warden visits Papillon and demands to know who has been helping him. Papillon refuses to reveal any names. As punishment, the warden cuts Papillon's food ration in half. Sometime later, the warden tries once again by tempting him with extra food, hoping he will betray his friend. But Papillon still refuses to speak. Angered by his silence, the warden orders his men to keep Papillon in complete darkness for the remainder of his solitary confinement. Trapped in darkness, Papillon begins hallucinating and losing touch with reality. He remembers moments from his past with Nanette, while Degas strangely appears in his visions as a mime performer. In another hallucination, Papillon sees a large vault and struggles to open it. When he sees the mime version of Degas again, the vault finally opens. On the other side, Papillon sees his younger self staring back at him before everything fades to black. 2 years later, Papillon is transferred back to the main prison island. By this time, Degas has become an assistant to the warden. Degas visits Papillon in the infirmary and speaks with him privately. He soon realizes that Papillon has only been pretending to suffer from mental illness. The two begin discussing another escape plan. This time, they intend to use a movie screening event inside the prison as part of their strategy. Papillon explains that they will also need the help of Céliar. To avoid suspicion, Papillon suddenly acts insane and violently pushes Degas away. Later, Papillon witnesses an infirmary worker abusing a patient named Maturette inside the restroom. Afterward, Papillon secretly approaches Maturette and offers him a chance to escape with them. In return, Maturette must distract the infirmary worker during the escape. Maturette agrees to the deal. The next day, Papillon, Degas, Céliar, and Maturette gather together to discuss the escape plan in detail. After the meeting ends, Degas admits that he does not trust Céliar. However, Papillon says that he believes Céliar can be trusted. Papillon then gives Degas the sedatives that will be used to put the guards to sleep. Night falls, and the prisoners begin enjoying the evening activities. Degas asks for a bottle of liquor and secretly mixes the sedatives into it. Meanwhile, inside the infirmary, Maturette distracts the attendant by flirting with him. Papillon and Céliar quickly move in and overpower the man. Angry at the attendant, Maturette kicks him while making loud noises. The guards downstairs hear the disturbance, and one of them comes to investigate. Luckily, the sedatives begin affecting the guard, causing him to collapse unconscious. Papillon and the others immediately attack the remaining guard downstairs as well. Now the group only needs to wait for Degas. At that moment, Degas has been called away to serve the warden and his guests. Suddenly, heavy rain begins pouring and the prison loses power. As darkness covers the area, Céliar and Maturette panic and want to escape immediately. However, Papillon refuses to leave without Degas. Moments later, Degas finally appears while carrying the keys to the central walkway. Using the darkness to their advantage, the group sneaks through the prison and jumps over the gate. But just as Degas attempts to jump, the electricity suddenly returns. Although he manages to make the jump, he lands badly and breaks his leg. Céliar insists that they should abandon Degas and continue without him. Papillon refuses refuses to leave his friend behind. As they move deeper into the forest, armed men suddenly surround them. A man who appears to be the leader steps forward. It turns out to be the same person Celiar previously contacted about arranging a boat. The four men successfully escape into the sea using a small boat. However, the boat struggles because of the extra weight. Even then, Celiar continues pressuring Papillon to leave Dega behind. Papillon still refuses to abandon him. Unfortunately, a violent storm begins approaching their location. Growing desperate, Celiar pulls out a knife and attempts to kill Dega. Maturet immediately attacks Celiar to protect Dega, but Celiar is stronger and throws Maturet into the ocean. Papillon then fights Celiar himself. Celiar gains the upper hand and nearly defeats Papillon. At that moment, Dega grabs the knife and stabs Celiar to death. After throwing Celiar's body into the ocean, Papillon and Dega continue sailing through the storm with Maturet gone. The scene then fades to black. Papillon suddenly wakes up from a nightmare about Dega killing Celiar. He soon discovers that they have been rescued and brought to a peaceful community. As Papillon walks outside, a nun greets him and explains that they are now in Colombia. She also tells him that Dega and Maturet are receiving treatment. While speaking about religion, the nun says she knows where they came from and believes they only need to repent for their sins. After cleaning himself up, Papillon visits Dega and tells him they should leave immediately. However, Dega refuses, saying that their agreement is now over. Papillon later meets Maturet, who appears to be enjoying life in the community. After saying goodbye to him, Papillon prepares to leave on his own. But while walking away, he notices a police truck approaching the area. Realizing the danger, he quickly returns to Dega and helps him escape. Meanwhile, Maturet is shot and killed by a police officer. Papillon and Dega are captured shortly afterward. It is revealed that the nun informed the authorities about them. 5 years later, Papillon is released once again from solitary confinement. This time he is transferred to Devil's Island, a prison known for being impossible to escape from. There, Papillon reunites with Dega. It turns out that Dega was sent directly to Devil's Island immediately after they were captured. While looking over the cliff near the prison, Papillon realizes there may still be a way to escape. He explains to Dega that the powerful ocean waves could carry them toward the mainland if they use a raft. The two men begin building a raft using coconuts tied together. Before the escape, Dega secretly places one of his drawings inside a bottle and hands it to Papillon. When the day of the escape finally arrives, Dega reveals that he has decided not to leave the island. He tells Papillon that he now feels like he belongs there and assures him that everything will be fine. The two friends share an emotional hug. After one final handshake, Papillon leaps from the cliff into the ocean below. At first, Dega believes Papillon did not survive the jump, but moments later, Papillon shouts Dega's real first name, letting him know that he made it safely into the water. Papillon floats across the open ocean, while staring up at the sky as an airplane passes overhead. Years later, in 1969, an older Papillon travels by airplane back to Paris to publish his memoir. Encouraged by his wife, he decides to share the story of everything he experienced. Still carrying Louis's drawing with him, Papillon tells the publisher that his story represents the struggles of many prisoners, not just his own. Thanks for watching! Subscribe for more videos like this and support the channel for future content.